Hello and welcome to Bite Me, a Buffy podcast. I'm Martin, and joining me this week, as always, is Joe.
Hello. Yes, I'm very delighted to be here. We were just talking a second ago about the very kind people that have left reviews on our which one is it? iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Yeah. So everybody that's written so quickly into this thing to say how much you're enjoying it, thank you very much, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think there were 8 so far. Yeah, that's unheard of
for me, and I've got 4 other podcasts, and I've got to wait a year usually for 8 reviews. So thank you very much, Buffy fans.
Yeah, thank you to everyone who's left one. And just a reminder, if you have enjoyed the podcast, give us a rating on your podcast app of choice. It really helps promote the show and push us up the charts and get us to more people.
Yeah, it's to all of you that haven't written a review yet. Why haven't you done that? Come on, get on it.
So, Joe, how's your week been?
Yeah, pretty good. We survived the flood, so back at work now after a week's holiday. So it's not bad. The same old, really. I'd say. Last week I was thrilled because I was right at the start of a week off and talking about Buffy. This week, unfortunately, I'm in the middle of a week at work, but I'm still talking Buffy. So that is the antidote to my week's work. Thank you very much. How about you?
It's been a testing week. So first off, the washing machine packed up and just wouldn't finish a cycle. Then it kind of leaked a little bit. So I had a little mini flood. And then on Sunday, my fiance got taken into hospital because she couldn't breathe properly. She's okay now. She's at home and resting. But yeah, it was a trying week. That's why we're recording this much later in the week than we would normally like to.
It basically means Martin's got about 5.5 seconds to edit this and put it out before Saturday. I'm really sorry to hear about Penny, but I'm happy that she's back home now and things are good. And I'm especially sorry, to see that picture of you at the laundrette the other day that you put on social media, lamenting the fact that you were sitting there putting coins into a machine. I was like, oh no, he's hit rock bottom now. He's in the local laundrette.
Oh, it was terrible because one of the machines, it just had a slot. Well, all the machines had this. It was a slot that had £1 and then a slot that had 20p. So I was like, oh, it's £1.20 to do the washing. So I put £1.20 in, nothing happened. And then it wasn't until I'd put £1.20 in about 4 machines thinking, why isn't this working? That I realized there was a little kind of like a counter at the bottom that said £6.
£6 for one load.
Yeah.
Jesus
yeah, to do a
Christ.
load of washing. So a bunch of people who came in after me got a discount because I'd put £1.20 in these
in every
machines.
machine. Bloody hell. Yeah, they must have thought their luck was in.
All right, shall we crack on with what we're here to talk about? We are going to talk about the series 1 episode of Buffy-Angel.
Yes.
Now, Joe, you watched Buffy from the start, didn't you, originally?
Yep.
I came in with series 2. So what was the big surprise reveal like for you back then?
What, that Angel was a vampire? Oh, sorry. No, we've decided, haven't we? The spoilers are okay. Well, please, if you don't know that Angel's a vampire when he's going to have his own TV show, then I'll feel for you. Yeah, it was a good surprise, but I think somewhere in the back of my head, I might have known, something about him always being in the shadows and broody. Yeah, I think I've probably suspected. Don't stop it being a great moment because Buffy doesn't know that he's a vampire, obviously. So and we get the rarest of things as well. A Buffy scream.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
I don't think it happens again. Oh no, it happens in Hush.
Yes,
it definitely
does.
happens in Hush. Well, what about you then? I mean, you knew this was coming because you came in 2. But how does the moment land for you?
I think it still holds up. Yeah, like you say, Buffy doesn't know, the rest of the gang don't know. Yeah, it's a great moment. It's a great moment. I think he looks great in those vampire prosthetics.
Yeah.
And I think the secret there is he's just a very handsome man.
Yes, he's so handsome they can even make him look like a demon and he still looks sexy. That is great.
I found out it takes 90 minutes to put those on properly.
What's that? Oh, well, that's better than Star Trek. It's about 5 hours to put all that latex on in Star Trek. So they're definitely in the better show. Or at least Armin Shimmerman is, who plays Quark and Principal Snyder, where he hasn't got to wear any makeup at all. Can I confess something to you?
Yeah, go on.
Well, I'll put a picture on X stroke Twitter, whatever it's called this week. It was pictures of Buffy and Angel just about to have their clinch when he comes around her house late at night. Man, oh man, I think they might be the hottest couple I've ever seen on TV. I mean, I was sitting there watching this heterosexual couple and sort of 5:30 in the morning, getting all hot under the collar watching it. Yeah. I mean, there's some serious fucking chemistry going on between those two.
Oh, it works so well. I know it was a nightmare to shoot them both because she's a foot shorter than he is.
Oh, it's because the camera loves both of them. Who the hell do I focus on, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so this episode, it was written by David Greenwalt, who would later go on to be the Angel showrunner. And it was directed by Scott Brazil, who would go on to work on The Shield. I don't know if you ever saw that show.
I haven't, no. Is that the Marvel spin-off?
No. This is from about the early 2000s. It's Michael, what's his name? Can't remember his name, but he played Thing in the first Fantastic Four movies.
Oh, okay.
It's him, and he's a detective, and I think it's set in Boston or somewhere like that, and it's kind of in the same kind of genre as The Wire.
So basically what you're saying to me is this is being made by people with pedigree.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You didn't have to tell me that. I watched the episode. This is clearly being made by people with some pedigree.
It's one of the strongest episodes of this first series.
Oh, for sure. Is it better than The Pack? As a dramatic episode, I think it's better than The Pack. Like, this is firing on every cylinder. I still think the Pack might be a little bit better, only because it surprised me being as good as it was. I knew this was good going into series 1 again, but I've forgotten how good The Pack was. But this is brilliant, this episode.
Yeah, it's so strong. Everyone's performances are great. It's a shame the Free didn't hang around to be much more of a threat.
Do we see them again?
No, Darla kills them.
Oh, I forgot. What, at the end of this one? See, look, it's been a couple of days. We were going to record on Monday, remember? I watched this on Monday.
Yeah, I watched this Sunday night. So, yeah, no, they fail in their mission and they immediately go back to the Master. And then that's where we learn that the Anointed One's called Colin.
Why is it always some really mundane name for these villains? Colin, yeah. Bless him. Yeah, I mean, I did actually think that the kid playing the Anointed One in this one, it wasn't that bad, actually. I think he's getting a bit more confident as the season's going on.
Yeah, pretty good performance from him. But yeah, imagine just the Free. We get told that there's all these tough vampires that get sent out to take Buffy down, but we only ever see them fail. It'd be really good to see them expanded on. And, you know, if this was a Big Finish property, we would have got a whole series about the Free and what they were up to. But yeah, Darla kills them.
Well, but the thing is, that makes Darla the most badass vampire that we've seen yet. I mean, she's already great. She was brilliant in the first episode in the first scene, you know, where she introduced us to the concept of the show. But here, please let's have a conversation about Darla, because Julie Benz was out of this world in this episode.
So good. So good. I forgot she dies this early on. And I think it's because she comes back for flashbacks and stuff like that. And she plays a big part in Angel. But I just forgot that this is where she dies. And she's so great. She's sexy as hell with the guns and the slow-mo. And
beyond the flashbacks in Becoming, in series, is it Becoming? Yeah, at the end of series 2. Do we see her again in Buffy at all?
Not in Buffy, but she's in Angel a lot.
Well, she's got like a significant role.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's enough, you know, to entice me to watch Angel through. I mean, I know we're gonna get there. What was great about Darla in this was the conversations between Angel and Darla. It's the first time we've done sort of extensive talking about the past. So at one point she goes, remember Budapest, like picking fruit from the vine. So, and there's all these conversations about the sort of the vampires walking through these historical moments and, you know, feasting on everybody. And we'll come back to it again and again, won't we?
Yeah, there's an episode of Angel where I think it takes place entirely in Budapest.
Yeah, I mean, just the relationship between Darla and Angel as well. It felt like it had weight. It felt like they had real history between the two performers. And bear in mind, they've only just met. This is the only episode the two of them have had together. So great work by Julie Benz and David Boreanaz to convince that, you know, they've got 200 years of history behind them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so believable. Their chemistry is great. In a way, I'm really surprised they killed her off this early.
There's a question I've got to ask you about her, though. All right. And now this is not me casting any aspersions on your sexuality, but what did you think about the line, what's with the Catholic schoolgirl look? You know, when she comes in wearing the skirt. And she's mimicking Buffy, isn't she? She's doing the schoolgirl.
Yeah. It's a weird thing because no other kids in Sunnydale wear that.
No.
So it's not like she's trying to blend in, because if there was a Catholic girls' school in Sunnydale, you'd be like, all right, she's trying to, blend in. But it's also the fact she's about 22.
But it's sort of the image, isn't it, of the innocent schoolgirl with the demonic vampire makeup, and then later on, when she's got two pistols. It's such a great image.
I remember them being machine guns.
I remember them being machine guns as well, but I don't care. When the strobe light was going and those glasses were smashing all over the place and she's coming at him with the guns, I was like, fuck me. This is that show again, the coolest show I've ever seen. And I think we're going to go here a lot. I'm going to be saying to you, oh, Martyn, how cool was that?
I wonder if she's got machine guns in a later episode, and that's what I'm thinking of.
Possibly. But as a set piece, the climax to this story might be my favorite set piece yet. It was really, really well directed, I thought. What did you think about the annual fumigation party?
I would never drink there.
No, I'd never go in there at all. Cockroaches are fucking horrible.
I mean, if a restaurant or a bar has one, you can get it closed down.
If someone said to me, yeah, squash a cockroach and you get a free drink, I'd be like, should we try somewhere else?
It must be the only place to get a drink in Sunnydale.
What, the Bronze? Yeah, well, I don't think we ever see another drinking establishment, do we?
No, it's always the Bronze. We learn a little bit more about vampire lore in the Buffy universe here.
Go on.
So we learn that they have to be invited in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time we get that inference.
But that's definitely a cliche from vampire stories, isn't it? Because I remember in The Lost Boys when the kid invites in the head vampire who he runs the shop, doesn't he? And he goes, don't ever invite a vampire into your house, you silly boy. It renders you powerless. It's a great moment. And it was a great moment here as well. And it's done really subtly, because I think Buffy just goes, oh, come in. And you don't think anything of it.
Yeah, they're running and she's like, come in.
Yeah,
it's great. And this is the first time Joyce interacts with the main cast. So she meets Giles for the first time, just thinks he's a really concerned teacher.
But this is the first time as well that Joyce isn't basically like the comedy subplot, isn't it? And she's actually in mortal peril for once.
Yeah, it's the first time one of the regulars is bitten by a vampire.
And I actually thought the bit where Darla came into her, she was so cute as well. She was like, I'm Darla. I'm just here to help Buffy with her homework. And, being the goody girl. It's the first time a regular's been in like serious danger like that, to a point where I sort of sat up and went, are we going to lose her here? Like this feels very dangerous. Not like, I don't know, Never Kill a Boy on the First Date, which was all played for comedy. Not like, evil praying mantis teacher, which felt very funny. This feels like real danger that Joyce is in. And we go to this well a lot, don't we, in future seasons?
Yeah, I love this. I think it's also the first time she interacts with Xander.
Oh, Joyce. Yeah. Like you said, and Giles as well, and that becomes very important later.
Spoilers.
I'm not saying they're at it or anything, or am I?
I also noticed that the voiceover was back at the start of this one.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if it's something they only put in episodes that will run in short.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, we could get another 15 seconds out of this one. She will fight against the demons. The vampires.
Because it was missing for a couple of episodes.
Aye. Did you notice, I'm doing my geography watch again. So Sunnydale is ever expanding. We've now had a trip to Sunnydale Hospital.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first time we're in Sunnydale High Street as well, because Buffy's walking along the High Street at one point. But it's not the High Street we get later on, I noticed. There isn't that big Sunnydale sign. Because I think the High Street we get later on is custom built, isn't it, for Buffy? We keep going to that one street where there's the bar and the cinema and all of that. This was actually clearly filmed on location in a high street.
Oh, and you can tell, it looks so much better than a set. So we get Angel saving Buffy here, which nowadays they wouldn't have a man save a woman in a show.
No, but I think Buffy's been established now as being able to take care of herself, hasn't she?
Yeah, yeah.
So I rather like that.
It's a great moment. I just don't understand why she runs back to her house. Like, why would you want them to know where you live?
Yeah.
Like, run back to the school where you've got all the weapons.
Look, she's a woman in a horror movie. They're not known for making the savviest of choices.
And what I don't get is why the free return instantly to the master. Like, the master's not going to know if it took you an hour or 20 hours to kill her. So if they just didn't go back and tried to kill her again, there's no way he would know.
Oh, I've just remembered that bit where they die. It's when they go back to the lair and he goes, oh, what was the line? I swear I wrote it down. Oh, yeah, he goes, I'm weary and their deaths will bring me little joy. But sometimes the little's enough. And then he nods to Darla and she murders them all. Man.
You know what? I think the master is a wig away from being a drag queen.
Oh, he can cast some shade, can't he? Yeah. But he has this sort of camp menace that I find so watchable. I'm agreeing with you now. I really wish he'd had a couple of seasons in him.
Would have been amazing to see him. And I remember, well, I was about to spoil season 2 then. But we won't. No, I was going to say, I always thought he was going to come back. I thought he was going to be Buffy's big bad for the entire run, but no. And I guess it's a better show for it.
What happens in season 2, though, is they realise when they've got a great villain, i.e. Spike and Drusilla, and they find it really... They refuse to kill them off because they're so good for the show. And it almost becomes a problem. So much so that when... They want to keep working with James Masters and they want to keep working with Spike, but they've established him as this evil bastard, irredeemably evil. And so they have got to change the character in order for him to be around and for him to be able to interact with the characters. So he has to basically turn good or have that chip in his head in order for him to continue with the show. Otherwise, it don't make any sense. It's almost it's like a double-edged sword. When you've got villains that are working, it's great, but when you've got villains that are working so well you cannot get rid of them, it's a problem. You need to find a way to keep them going, but they do.
Yeah, I guess it does get a bit ridiculous when he can't kill her and she can't kill him. It kind of reminds me, it's the Dalek problem in Doctor Who, isn't it?
Well, eventually, they had to fall in love, the pair of them, because where else could they go with those two characters?
Yeah, exactly.
I loved the line from the Master when he said, Angel, he was the most vicious creature I ever met. So they're really building up Angelus as being this like psychopathic mass murderer. So thank God he's not around anymore.
We also got the return of Cordelia in this episode. She's been missing for a bit.
Yes, and did I write anything about Cordelia? Oh my God, she had a really funny moment. She gets to be a total bitch at least once in every episode. Did you notice?
Yeah.
And she goes, someone says something about someone dying, and she goes, what? So they all think that she's overheard, and then she's looking at a girl across the way, and she goes, where did you get that dress? Is that a knockoff? Because she's wearing the same dress as her.
Yeah.
Man, she's so shallow. I love it. But for once, I wouldn't say she was the highlight of the episode. I've said that a couple of times before. Like Cordelia's bitchiness has been a highlight, but there's so much good stuff going on here. She's sort of in the pack somewhere.
So yeah, we get more of Willow fawning over Xander.
Yeah, I'm pleased that doesn't last too long. Like, I get they're leaning into that sort of unrequited love thing, and I did want to ask you actually about that. Martyn, did you have an unrequited love when you was at school?
Not at school, but I definitely college onwards.
Oh, please tell us about it. You haven't got to name any names.
I think everyone's had it, right?
Yeah, I've got a big... Mine was my friend Luke Cooper-Berry, who I'm still extremely close with now. I have the nicest arse that I've ever met. I was working in BHS. I was 15 years old. He came in, campus Christmas, with wide hips. I thought, I'm onto a winner here. And then he tells me he likes girls. Dear, oh dear. I was mooning after him for about 2 years. And do you know what? It got so bad. It was like this Buffy situation with Buffy, Xander and Willow. I fancied Luke. Luke fancied Karen. Karen fancied me. I mean, it was all getting very confusing, Alas, to this day, me and Luke have never had a snog, but we're the best of friends. So it ended up well.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, there's just, there's been women friends over the years that I've wanted to be more than friends with that for whatever reason it didn't work out.
Martin, honestly, you've only got to ask, We're on the call now. Oh, you said women. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. But I do remember the pain of being young and really what I thought was in love with him when he didn't even look in my direction. And Alison Hannigan does play it brilliantly.
So well. Yeah, it does. It hurts. It hurts. But then you realize as you get older, it probably wasn't love.
They wait a season, nearly 2 seasons, to give Willow a partner, don't they? To give her Oz. And I think that was a really savvy move because she goes through this whole sort of unrequited thing. And then when finally she finds somebody, and spoiler, he's as cute as she is, they're the cutest couple you're ever going to see. Well, until her second partner, and that's even cuter. But you're so happy that she's finally found someone. So I'm pleased they sort of wait nearly 2 years to get there.
Yeah, and it does feel realistic. Like she comes to realize it's never going to work out and meet someone, and that's what happens to us all, I guess.
And then it's so like real life. I'm sorry, I'm going to have a bit of a rant now.
That's all right.
It's so like real life because she acknowledges, right, that's never going to happen. Fine. And then Xander's got a girlfriend. She's got a boyfriend. Yeah. And they're both happy in their relationship. So what happens? They end up fucking snogging, don't they? This is real life all over. You've got everything you ever wanted, the pair of them. And then they go and balls it up by kissing each other. I mean, you wait till we get to that episode. I'm going to have some serious issues when we get there. The pair of them. Sorry, I'm going to shut up now.
So is Angel sweet or creepy? Because would Buffy give him the benefit of the doubt if he was a middle-aged man, a little bit chubby?
No, he would be dead by the end of this episode. Essentially, if Angel wasn't played by David Boreanaz, the hottest man in television, he would be dead. But if it was Giles, imagine if it was played by Anthony Head.
One of my friends, actually, she's been listening to the podcast.
Oh, hello.
And I said my crush was moving on to Joyce. She was a die-hard Angel and Spike fan. And she's now 41, 42, and her crush is moving on to Giles.
Do you remember when we sort of had a glimpse into his Ripper days, and he's got that sort of Cockney accent, and they grease up his hair a bit? I don't know who your friend is, but I can actually see it. Yeah, I can completely empathise.
So this episode originally broadcast on Sarah Michelle Gellar's 20th birthday.
Is she only 20?
Yeah. See, there's conflicting reports about this because so many sites say she was 21 when she started filming Buffy, but then so many others say she was 19.
19 or 20, that's very young to have that much talent on the screen.
Yeah, well, she was a child actor. She grew up in the system, and I think she was on a soap opera for about 5 years.
But I don't think it's the easiest thing in the world to say, right, Martin, I've got this amazing role for you. Okay, you're going to play this teenager who fights vampires, is the chosen one, and you're going to fall in love with a vampire. This is not, it's not your average television role, is it? But she actually grabs hold of it so confidently, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. She is terrific. And what's surprising me in series 1, I always thought that she was just sort of like the bubbly teen, and we've seen a bit of that in the earlier episodes. She gives a really mature performance in this.
Oh, she's incredible. The whole cast are so well cast in this. I learned recently you can do a university degree in Buffy studies.
No, you can't.
You can. She was on the Graham Norton show, I think, in the summer, and she's talking because she's got a new show called Wolfpack. I think it's on Amazon, and he brings up that there are university courses, and she said it's about the lexicon and kind of the language of the show and how that evolved into its own thing.
You tell me something completely absurd in every episode, and thank you, my friend, you've done it again.
We should sign up.
Well, you want us to get a degree in Buffy? I think we've already got it. We're doing a podcast.
Imagine if we failed.
No, we got 17 out of 20 in the quiz. We'll be all right. Actually, that was quite an easy quiz. I've been doing some digging, I think there's some harder quizzes out there that you and I are going to have to try after we're a couple of seasons.
We'll do one. Next time we're together in the same location, we'll do a new one.
That's right. Most people get together and have sex. We get together and do Buffy quizzes.
That's the way I want it.
We're winning at life.
Yeah, so Graham Norton asked her if she's ever attended any of the classes. And she said no, because fans would then say, "Oh, you remember series 5, episode 17?" And she'd be like, So she just didn't want to embarrass herself.
That's you know what you said to me a couple of episodes back about her not wanting to come back to the show and distancing herself from this. Like, I thought about that in the intervening weeks. She's so synonymous with this role. Like, if anyone was going to be typecast, it's Sarah Michelle Gellar. So the fact that she went on and did all that other work, and she's created all that distance from what was probably her most famous role, I can kind of see why she doesn't want to go back to it. Did you take a look at the link I sent you of the in-studio recordings?
Yeah.
Anya was there. Tara was there. I was getting so excited watching that video.
I'm so happy they recorded it all at once in the same location, because so often you get someone will do their voice track separately.
And they were all loving it, weren't they? They were all going, I can't believe I'm over there from Xander and Anya and all that. You know? Oh, it was great. I can't wait.
Yeah, next week that comes out.
You know me, I always like to bring it back to the sex, and I'm going to do it again. I thought that this episode, again, do you remember we talked about Xander being a bit forceful with Buffy in the pack?
Yes.
There's a couple of lines in this which I thought were pushing it for the sort of the time slot, where Angel said to Darla, I want it finished. And she says, good, that's good. You're hurting me. That's good too. Like, she's a bad girl, isn't she? But I kind of like the fact that this is a show that's dressed up as like a teeny boppy high school show, but actually pushes into some very dark, very mature themes as it goes along. And I always thought that came later. Actually, there's lots of hints of it very early on, and that's another example there.
Oh yeah, that is a dark sensibility there. We learned that Angel gets his blood from blood banks here.
Oh, do we feel sorry for Angel?
Yeah, I would say so.
Because he's sort of presented as a victim here, isn't he? As somebody who used to be a complete monster and is now sort of living out a pathetic existence in the shadows, sucking away on blood bags, like you say.
One thing I've never understood about the whole Buffyverse is nobody ever brings up, why don't we just resoul all the vampires?
Yeah. Well, we don't really go into much of that until it happens with Angel and then with Spike later, does it? And then it's just those two characters we focus on. But mind you, do you see what you have to go through to get one of those souls back? Did you see Spike in series 6? He was covered in insects, you know, fighting men with flames for hands. Oh, Jesus Christ. Arduous.
It's not an easy process.
No. There was a great line, right, about Angel's past where David Boreanaz says, for 100 years I offered ugly death and I did it all with a song in my heart. Yeah. What a great line that is.
I can't wait to see that side of him come out more later in the series when we talk about it.
Spoiler alert, the second half of series 2 is just one of the best runs.
So there's a line in this that doesn't really make any sense.
Go on.
So it's when they're in the hospital, Buffy says, I invited him into my house even after I knew what he was. That's not true.
It's before.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've noticed a couple of lines like this where what's filmed and what's scripted contradicts. I wonder if these were made in a hurry. Like you said, this was a mid-season replacement, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh, we had a comment left on our YouTube the other day saying that Savannah, the show that this replaced, the showrunner of that went on to create Charmed.
Ah, okay.
So she did all right for herself, so let's not feel too bad.
She did all right, but she didn't make Buffy, did she? Come on.
No. But then again, Buffy's only just getting its reboot on audio. Charmed at least got a rebooted series.
Do you remember what I told you before, right? That everyone, people of our sensibilities, we like a bad boy, yeah? What is the only way you could possibly make Angel more sexier than, you know, the sort of brooding fella in the nightclub in the tank top and leather jacket? The only way you could possibly make him sexier is to make him a vampire, to make him evil. And then by that point, he's so magnetic. I mean, from this point on, he is just pure sex fuel for me.
As a straight man, even when he took his shirt off, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Mind you, Sarah Michelle Gellar was looking delicious in this as well.
Yeah.
Quick, change the subject, quick. It's all getting a bit sexy again.
Maybe what we should do as we go through this is look at the fashion, because there's a bartender in this that's wearing like a bright, shiny kind of top. Someone else is wearing like this furry jumper thing. How do you think the fashion's aged?
It's definitely of its time. And all right, if we're going to do fashion watch, let's pay particular attention to Willow throughout this series, who in series 1 to 3 wears a spectacular array of fuzzy jumpers, and she looks so cute. Like, honestly, she's like a walking lollipop most weeks. Although, actually, I've got to say, the white tank top that David Boreanaz is wearing in those scenes in Buffy's bedroom, yeah, that is a look. And that is a look in 2023 that still works.
That leather jacket he's wearing cost $1,000.
Shut up. $1,000?
And that was back in like 97.
There's Whedon
money, so that's probably...
Whedon's flaunting the cash already. It's not even a success yet.
It's probably about $1,500 in today's money.
Yeah.
It's by Hugo Boss, if anybody's looking to get it.
There is a comment that Angel killed his friends, his family, and their children. So the inference is he's got a lot way. So imagine you did all those terrible things, and these people are monsters, so they don't care. But suddenly you've got your soul back, and you remember every single murder you committed, including those nearest and dearest to you. Like, just think about that for a second, and what that would be like to live with.
Oh yeah, he says it himself, where he's like, imagine doing all that and caring.
I will drop another very quick spoiler. When we see the gypsy ceremony in the Becoming Part 1, so he's chasing the gypsy, she does the ceremony, he gets his soul back, and then for about a minute, we watch Angel remember everything that he's done, and Boreanaz plays that amazing. Like here in this episode, it's only hinted at, but Whedon is making notes of everything, and he comes back and he explores all of this brilliantly.
So one thing Joss said when he was creating the character of Angel is he knew that this character would be strong enough to one day hold his own show or disappear after 7 episodes. And I could totally see them ending this episode with him just leaving town and never coming back.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it could have ended here, couldn't it? Like, he could have been killed at the end of this episode, right? There's the reveal. Buffy, the fella that Buffy fancies, is a vampire. She has to kill the vampire. Let's move the series on. But what a waste that would have been. Whedon's like, no, the potential of having this love affair play out where she's totally fallen head over heels for the very creatures she's supposed to kill. I mean, there's your drama, yeah?
Yeah, he had to be talked into it because the network... So basically, David Boreanaz was like 26 here. And there were no network shows catering to men of that age. They were all like teeny boppers, or they were older, like, you know, kind of like the West Wing type shows.
Yeah.
For older people. There was nobody in that mid-20 bracket. So the network really liked him. And then it was that love relationship. I don't think people realize how big it was back then. It's probably not easy for a newcomer to watch that now and get how big this relationship was.
Yeah, and I think it was great because it crossed the ages. Like, I think kids were invested in it because they were a hot couple. I think older people could watch it because of, like, you know, the weight of history behind Angel and how mature it was all handled, the writing and the performances. I just think it worked on every level. And, you know, we're going back to, what was that show with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd, Moonlighting and stuff like this.
Moonlighting,
you know, we're going back to that whole will they, won't they? Because we play that game with Buffy and Angel for some time. I don't think they're officially like boyfriend and girlfriend until series 2, I want to say.
Yeah, series 2. He disappears for a few episodes now, and then he comes back towards the end.
I won't comment about Angel, the TV show, because I am so in the dark about that. So it's going to be an interesting one to explore because I know nothing and you know everything. So I'll be coming to
I'm looking forward to getting to that, actually.
With fresh eyes.
Because, yeah.
But I think the only weak thing about Angel's run, the only thing that really doesn't work for me is season 3 of Buffy, where effectively season 2 is where his use as a character has ended. and he's got to ride out series 3 because his show's coming at the end of 3. So he effectively is just hanging out in the crypt, and we go and visit him every now and again. Don't we? And sort of towards the end of the season, there's all of this. Oh, I'm going to leave town, all heartbreak, and they sort of do something very emotional with him again. But for about half a season, he's just hanging about, not doing anything.
Yeah. It was during the filming of The Becoming that they decided he could handle his own show.
Yeah, well, I can see why. I mean, that is basically I think The Becoming Part 1 is effectively the first episode of Angel. It's all about Angel.
Yeah, yeah. I like it. Yeah, I totally see why Angel is the character they gravitated towards to spin off. It makes sense at this point.
The whole tragedy of the Buffy-Angel romance, that's still talked about in genre television today. I would say it's the Buffy-Spike relationship that comes afterwards. All credit to Buffy and Spike, because that Buffy-Angel relationship was so powerful and so vivid. The fact that it even dared to rival that romance is a miracle. And I feel like in Buffy fandom, correct me if I'm wrong, people that are listening, come at us with tweets. But I think there are Team Spike and Team Angel.
Yeah, there's very few Team Riley.
Oh, if there is a Team Riley out there, definitely at us, please. And we want to know who you are.
So there's a coincidence. So my daughter is named Tegan, not named after Doctor Who, because her mum picked the name, never seen an episode of Doctor Who. My nephew is called Riley. My sister's never seen an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, Riley. Do you know, it says something, that I've just talked about Buffy's boyfriends and I completely forgot he existed. I mean, he's cute. He is cute. I seem to remember him waking up one morning and straight away he's on his hands and knees. This ain't going where you think it is, by the way. And he's doing press-ups. He's just got out of bed. I'm like, I'm sorry. I could never have a boyfriend with that much energy.
He's a military man, though, isn't he? So he's regimented.
Yeah, boring. She went the other way, didn't she? She went from sort of bad boy to clean cut to bad boy. She's doing the range. Buffy's got range with her boyfriends.
Yeah, I think you needed Riley to get her in. If she'd gone from Angel to Spike, maybe it doesn't flow as well.
Where does Scott Hope fall into the pack then?
Nowhere really.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard a rumor that Buffy was a lesbian in the spin-off comics.
Yeah, I think in season 9 they make her a lesbian.
With whom?
I can't remember. I haven't got that far. Actually, this week I started reading Angel After the Fall, and that's essentially season 6 of Angel.
Well, Bite Me fans, if you could at us with some information about who Buffy is having lesbian relations with as well, we'd be very grateful.
Yeah, I only ever read season 8 of Buffy, and then I just fell behind. You know what it's like with comics? So many come out. The second you stop reading, you're just done. It's like music. The second you take a break from music, you've got no idea who any of the bands are anymore.
What's interesting about Angel, in terms of Buffy's romantic life, is this is the first point where essentially Buffy being in love is hell for her. It's pure drama fuel, and it doesn't let up, because you think about the run and think about how often Buffy is happy in a relationship. It's maybe about 20 episodes of the run. Otherwise she's either dealing with Angel being a vampire, or she's dealing with Riley and his psychotic surrogate mother, Maggie Walsh. Oh man, I can't wait till we get to Maggie Walsh. She was great. Or she's dealing with Spike, which is unrequited for a while, and then it's very ugly in series 6, and then I don't know what's going on in series 7. But she's not very happy very often, is she?
No. Joe, would you say we've kind of talked this episode to death at the minute?
I'd say we probably have. I think this is like a tempo episode. The pilot, this one, in terms of sort of mythology, and Prophecy Girl in series 1. Everything else is standalone, from sort of okay to really, really good. But this is like the first important episode since the pilot. And frankly, it's so important because this is the episode that spun off its entire, an original show. Yeah,
it all stems from this. I think, this might be my favorite episode of series 1.
And I can completely understand why you would say that. I'm interested to see how Prophecy Girl holds up all these years later, because I remember there's an awful lot of special effects, including a load of weird snakes that come smashing out of the floor in the library, and I want to see how those special effects hold up before I declare which is the best episode of series 1. Can I drop the suggestion that I made to you today about the structure of our seasons of Bite Me with the finales?
Yeah, go on.
Well, I thought it would be a fun idea if we do discussions throughout the season, and then every year Martyn and I are going to do the season finale, and I'm going to try and make it so we're together, because I think that'll be even more fun. And we're going to watch the episodes and do a commentary. So there's going to be lots of live reactions to what's going on.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to sort of end the season each time.
We will certainly try our best to make that happen.
But one last thought is, like, if this episode wasn't as spectacular as it is, they wouldn't have continued with the Angel storyline. They wouldn't have spun off Angel into its own show. You know, it's a testament to how good this is that all those things happened, because they've seen this and gone, this is fucking gangbusters. Let's do more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It can all be traced back to this episode. So, Joe, next week, it's I, Robot, You, Jane.
Oh, no. Oh, dear. From the sublime to the ridiculous. I don't remember much about that one. I think it's our first big Willow episode, is it?
It is, yeah. And I guess we could both confess maybe some internet relationships we've had.
Oh, Jesus, this is going to be a long episode. Has it got an enormous robot in it? Like a genuine robot?
I don't think so.
I seem to think it might do, you know.
I can't remember. I haven't seen it for about 10 years.
I think we're in for a treat, you know. But in a very different way to Angel.
So we're going to do a competition in a couple of weeks where we're going to give away some of our mugs, because a couple of people have been in touch, said they like the mugs, they want to get one.
This is the only mug I drink with when we record, you know.
Same. So we're going to do a competition where you can win them. We'll come up with a question that we can ask, and we'll put it on there. But yeah, thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this, please go to your podcast app of choice. Give us a 5-star rating or review. We're very low on Spotify likes at the minute. So if people could go up, and if you listen on Spotify, just tap that 5-star button.
But just to say, we're a fledgling podcast, and the amount of interest we've had already has blown us away. So anyone that's listening, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Oh, so often I wake up to a message from Joe and he's like, there's another one. And it makes my day.
There's another review. My God, people like us.
And I guess next week, Slayers launches.
What's that?
The Audible series.
Yeah. Well, how are we going to do that then?
I don't know. We'll discuss it.
We'll discuss that offline. Maybe we'll do like little side episodes of that.
Yeah, that's probably the way to go. All right, Joe, thanks for joining me once again.
Always a pleasure.